Welcome to a very special place. This place has officially become, as of last night, my favorite place in the United States to spend time. I'm literally miles away from the closest human being right now. And as you can see behind me, adventure was calling. And if adventure is calling you, you're gonna wanna stick around because this has got to be the coolest thing I have ever added to my Cybertruck. So what exactly is this thing? Well, this is something very special. Camp 365 has been shipping customer units of a tow-behind unit since 2018. And speaking of which, we're here in Iowa where they build these things. And what's cool about that is right behind me, you can see one in process of being built. This is where it all started. The basic idea was, how do we take what's great about a pop-up camper, what's awesome about the efficiency of a teardrop, and combine them to make something that's a little bit better? And behind me, starting in 2018, they started shipping these things, and there's hundreds of these across the US at this point. So I'm gonna give you a just quick teaser of where this all started, and it's all gonna make so much sense of how we got to the back of the truck. But as you can see, regardless of how lightweight and small a package it is, when you unfold this thing, it's absolutely massive. The crazy thing about this, as you've already figured out for yourself, this also opens up. It's actually bigger than the one that goes on the truck bed. But of course, this won't fit in the truck bed. But you can see the basic shape is very similar, and that's all about aerodynamics. And when it comes to EVs, that's particularly important. In fact, they say that this has minimal impact, and we've got some numbers to share with you on what the truck did.
What I've come to conclude is that the range impact of this on the back with the aero cover is basically the same as my truck with the rack and rooftop tent on it. So it actually came out to be about 6 miles difference at 70 miles an hour. So what that means in real world is you're looking at about 220, 230 miles of real world range. So basically the same impact as if you had a roof rack on here with a rooftop tent.
Camp 365, they've developed some pretty cool tech, and it's all integrated into what you see behind me. This thing folds down to a very small profile, meaning it gives you maximum aerodynamic efficiency while giving you the largest space available. In fact, for truck bed campers, this is almost 3 times the floor space of the largest truck bed camper in the world. And the reason is because what you see behind me, this gray base underneath, that's just the base that holds everything under the camper. But when it opens up, your floor space is actually going over the sides of the bed. In a traditional truck bed camper, it's just the space between the wheel wells. So this is very unique in the fact that you get almost 3 times the floor space in a lot smaller package when you're moving. Now, some of the things that make this unit special over some of the other traditional truck bed campers, of course, is the weight. And that weight is supported by an all aluminum frame. That is coupled with walls made of fiberglass. There's no nylon. This material you see here, if you've ever seen like a military or a FEMA tent, that's the type of material this is, but it's double layered, meaning it has really awesome insulation. There's an air conditioner running inside, which is super clutch for awesome spaces like this. If you enjoy the comforts of heating and cooling, this thing's got you covered. So as you can see behind me, here are the outlets for the air conditioner that's running on the inside. And this area is made to open and close. So if you're running a heater or you're running an air conditioner, you have a way to get that exhaust air out and keep the cool air in. That double layer with the insulation on the floor, the insulation on the fiberglass, all of that combines for a truly 4-season space on the inside. so you can be comfortable all year round, which is a huge plus because most campers, it's kind of tough to get full year use out of because they just can't handle the cold, and the heat sometimes can be an issue as well. A lot of places, they just ramp you up with a huge air conditioner and dump a ton of power wasted just because the insulation's not that great. But on this one, we're actually just using an EcoFlow, and that is really cool because an EcoFlow is pretty efficient as far as air conditioners go, meaning this thing, everything is powered by the Cybertruck right now, and it's not using a whole lot of energy. The team at Camp 365 has thought about just about everything when they developed this thing. And as you can see from behind me, this ladder here, this is very different than what you're probably used to seeing with any truck bed camper. This thing is a solid staircase, and this allows for you to put a handle on like you see behind me. That means if some of your less mobile friends are coming with you or family, maybe some older folks, this is a lot safer to get in and out of. You have sturdy place to grab onto and a sturdy staircase to get up and down. And let me tell you, this is much more comfortable getting in and out of with these stairs than what is traditionally on the back of these truck bed campers. Now, above and beyond some of the technical innovations in this unit is what's on the inside. That's where this thing has a huge bang for the buck, and that is the space. I'm going to take you inside now and show you why this thing is very cool. It's actually more of like a blank canvas on the inside, and you can set this up in so many different ways. So if it's just you or it's your whole family, it's got a setup for any of that, and it's not a permanent setup, meaning if you just want to go on your own, you can set it up one way. If you want to go with your whole family, you can set it up a completely different way. And for those of you with family who isn't quite as into the rough, rugged outdoors, good news is there is a cassette toilet available and an indoor shower. So for those who like a little bit more comfort, that's all covered here as well. So the way that I have this set up at the moment is a full queen size bed, a true queen, and that is it in here. So over here, I have my space where I can get work done and all of that. But right there, you'll see a couple of mounting points for what is sitting right here. Now, what this thing is actually the cover for this when it's all folded up. When you take it off, it actually turns into your table on the inside. And you can see on the back, we have our expandable leg here that actually mounts into a hole in the floor. This is perfect for a workstation and actually has space for two, which is pretty nice. One of the things I really like about this is when weather is nice and there's a breeze, when you open these two side windows, you get a ton of light in here and a nice airflow. Of course, you have a more traditional camper window here and another one here on the door. This thing's got tons of space and tons of light for a truck bed camper. Now here you can see our EcoFlow is running right now. This unit is an option and it allows you to have AC, but it also has a heat pump. So if you need to run some warmer air into the cabin, that's also possible. And then over here, you can see our entire power unit. So everything comes in through shore power and straight to this panel here. So all of your devices, everything that you need, all plugs in right there, which is nice because it's tucked away. It's a nice convenient space. And as you can see on the floor, we have 3 hatches here. The forward hatch holds 2 water tanks, both 15 gallons. So you can have both of them be fresh water. You can have one be fresh, one be gray water, or you can have no water and put whatever storage you want in there. Of course, we have another storage space here right in the middle, very large. It holds most of the stuff. And then here at the front, it's access to the drawer that pulls out from the outside when everything's folded up. One of the coolest things about this is the ease of setup. So when you're unfolding this thing, as you can see, these bars, these 2 in the middle are actually attached to that back wall. So when the back wall is latched in place and you're pulling this front wall up in place, you just bring up these tension rods and put them up. That's it. Add the 2 on the sides and it's set up. It's that easy. Literally, we fold out the sides, lift up that back wall, lift up the front wall, and your camper is set up. Something coming soon that I'm actually really excited about, and one of the things that drew me to this unit in particular is there are bunk beds coming that are going to fit basically that space right there. So you can have both of your children have space, and then you could also have the queen bed, or you could do 4 bunks. So 2 on each side. Either way, your whole family can fit in this thing, and have climate control. Everybody's comfortable, everybody's happy. So over here on the side of the unit is where our shore power comes in. And in this case, it is hooked up to the Cybertruck. So power in to that panel box on the inside. And then we also have, you're able to hook up to city water if you want. And then there's an overflow in the back, but this will fill up your tanks, and you can also use this to hook up your sink or whatever you might want to add to your unit. And then of course we have these awnings on both sides, which is really nice because in the middle of the day, it provides quite a bit of shade, gives you a nice space to relax underneath. And as you can see, it's a pretty simple setup for that as well. We just have a couple of extension poles here, and they're just set down into the ground through some spikes. So this is the Camp 365 T model. That is the overview of this thing. Now, the best parts about this unit are not just the mobility, the ability to have it in your truck, but also because it's so light, it is usable for any pickup truck that is at least 41 inches between the wheel wells. So essentially every full-size truck, and most small and mid-sized trucks as well. Rivian, F-150, Silverado, obviously Cybertruck, it fits in the bed. What's really cool about that though is you can pull this thing off when you're at home and store it in your garage. That's a big deal. You don't have to pay a storage unit to hold a huge 24-foot camper. This thing can park in your garage. That's pretty cool. On top of that, the way that this thing folds up, like I said at the beginning, makes this aerodynamic. It is super efficient to drive this thing, so your impact on the highway is minimized, and that is a really big deal. When you're pulling a trailer, you have a pretty big impact. When you're putting anything on the top, pretty big impact. So this is going to be comparable to like a rack with a rooftop tent on it. That is pretty awesome. This is a lot more space than a rooftop tent for sure. Now let's talk about price. And this usually would be a scary part of a video like this. However, in this case, this is some good news. Unlike the other units that have been talked about for the Cybertruck and a few that have finally come out, this is not $60,000 like some of those. This is $26,995. Of course, there are some options that you've seen on this particular one that I showed you today, like the air conditioner, the shower. So there's a couple $1,000s in options as well, but this thing is actually affordable, and that is a huge deal because everything that seems to be coming out is so expensive. But what's crazy about the affordability is they didn't just use cheap materials. This is all aluminum. The whole unit itself is about 830 pounds, including everything that you see here. That keeps this thing low on weight. The aluminum keeps it lightweight, and the price overall is minimized. There's not a whole bunch of complicated contraptions that add a lot of cost. This thing takes a proven design that hundreds across the US are already on the road and morphs it into something that fits in the bed of a pickup truck, and that's a brilliant setup. Furthermore, because of the utility of this and the customization on the inside, this can be more than just a camper. For example, in disaster relief, this thing could get to those hard to reach places and set up a control center right there on the front lines with an EV truck, have all the power on board. This thing could be extremely useful in emergencies like natural disasters that we see where I'm from in Florida. So that is the look at the world's very first folding cyber cabin. This thing is made for trucks. It's made to get you out on the road and adventure without having to have a trailer. This thing adds a ton of flexibility. It's at an affordable price, and it's made to last. There's already hundreds of the tow-behind version of this on the road. They have a reputation for quality, and they've been selling units for about 7 years now. So you've got to check this thing out, Camp 365. And if you use code BTG, you're going to get a whole kit made specific for the Cybertruck for free. That includes the riser that's required. It includes the aero cover that goes on the front and a number of other goodies. That's thousands of dollars in value that you'll get by using code BTG if this is something that you're interested in. Otherwise, it is fun just to look at it and check out how you would set yours up. So let me know in the comments, what would your cabin look like? I thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one.